What's up, guys? Welcome to this episode of Friday Sessions on Unemployable. Now, this one got a little bit heated, crazy, hilarious. We talk about the ridiculous, highly offensive Orwellian that our government in Queensland has just voted into legislation and what's going on at the federal level on these laws that are the most scary anti-free speech laws maybe in the world. And they're happening right here in Queensland, which is just horrendous, in Australia at a federal level. We talk about that. Then we pivot into talking about some incredible things happening in the world of business. We go deep on what was going on at the All-In Summit over in the US and how incredible that event was and where you can access the recordings for free. We talked about AI and a whole bunch of other stuff. We had lots of laughter, very irreverent podcast. If you're easily offended, go and listen to another podcast. This is not the place for you. This one's funny. This one we have a fair income crack at, and a big middle finger to those who are trying to shut down free speech in this country and to actually enjoy ourselves and defend the right of people to be assholes and for us to disagree with one another and not have to shut down and control every single word that comes out of people's mouths and realize that words are not weapons. They don't kill people. It's a really interesting pod. I hope you enjoy it. It's very different to the pods we've done in the past, but drop a comment. Let us know. See you on the other side. What is up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Unemployable. This is the Friday session, and we are shaking things up this week. We have a couple of new fellas here. Well, they're not brand new to us. They've been on the pod before. We've had Simon on as guest. How are you, Simon?
That's right. I'm doing awesome, man. How are you?
Yeah, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for standing in.
Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, big shoes to fill. See how we go.
Well, Eric's shoes are not that big.
They're not, figuratively speaking.
Mr. Dolce & Gabbana, we call them.
They're Dolce Gabbana shoes. Chriso, how are you, mate?
I'm going very well, very, very well. Similar to Simon as well. I've got big shoes to fill with James. Got to bring the fire and the heat, but I think we'll keep it pretty calm and cool over this side today.
Yeah, big shirts to fill with James, big pipes. How you doing, mate, over there? What's happening, Marky Mark?
I'm great. Happy to be here once again and looking forward to having a chat with the boys.
For those who don't know, our guest host here today, Simon runs an agency, I guess, for want of a better term, here on the Gold Coast called, how do we say it? Automate Convert.
Yeah.
And so they specialise in automating and helping businesses convert more. So traffic, copywriting, all that good stuff. So basically in the cold face of small business development and improvement. So that's why we asked Simon to come in, because we know our audience is into growing businesses. And of course, we've got Chris here from Early Bird AI, and they're an agency for making AI happen in small businesses, medium businesses as well at this stage as well, which is exciting. And of course, we got Mark here who runs various businesses, online businesses.
And learns from the boys and the guests that we have on. I learnt so much from Dante last week and was implementing some of his strategies as I was re-listening to the podcast. So if you missed that one, go back and watch that one. But yeah, I love coming on and having these guys on because I learned so much that I can apply in my businesses. So
yeah, 100%. So today we've got a fairly full ticket. We've got a bunch of stuff to talk about. I know this video will be demonetized and definitely penalized. Just before we started rolling our Friday session our Tuesday pod that came out, the most recent one, we have had it demonetized, blocked, throttled by Google over and over and over, YouTube, because I think I mentioned a political name once or something. We've tried editing it, auditing, cut out the swearing, and they just will not drive traffic to it.
It's crazy. I, as you know, been doing the daily newsletters and been posting some of them on Instagram. And I post to my stories, some of them, just to promote. And I mentioned, in one of the daily newsletters, I mentioned government. Not in a negative way, just government. And it got like 1/5 of the views that it normally gets. So Instagram stories are throttling as well.
The amount of censorship that is happening right now is absolutely, we should be absolutely up in arms.
Horrendous.
I want to start the pod by playing this, which is perhaps one of the most alarming things I've seen in my life as an adult.
Wow.
This is really relevant because it's just happened, and it's happened here in Queensland. So I want to play this and then we'll talk about it.
Well, this is a very dark day in Australia's history, ladies and gentlemen, because this week the Respect at Work and Other Matters Amendment Bill 2024 was passed in Queensland Parliament. Well, what does this mean for you? Well, from now on, we're going to have to police our thoughts and our speech very carefully on social media. And here's why. Any post made on social media now is deemed by this bill to be a public act. And any public act found offensive by a reasonable person of the minority community that it describes is then chargeable under Section 52A of the Criminal Code. And these charges carry a maximum sentence of 3 years jail time. So as you can see, it's not hyperbole to say that this bill paves the way for Queensland citizens to serve jail time for social media posts that offend minorities. This bill is the most egregious encroachment of freedom of speech that I have ever seen in Australia. And worse still, this is a piece of legislation that is self-protecting in the sense that to speak out against it is to be in contrast.
So apparently, to speak out against this bullshit is actually against the law. Well, fuck you. I'm going to speak out against this because right now there would be soldiers rolling in their grave that fought for this country and our rights to free speech.
Yeah.
And the lefty nut jobs are going to weaponize this so that we are not allowed to offend. I mean, how broad, like, and what's even more alarming, there's a bill before federal parliament at the moment, which is a vilification bill, they're calling it, which is basically very similar to this, where you can't cause harm, which is such a broad term, and it encompasses you can't speak out against anything that might destabilize the financial system. You can't talk about public health. Now, banks, public health.
Economy.
Yeah, you think about this, right? So you can't talk out against all the bullshit that went on with COVID.
It's not that you can't have an opinion that may be deemed as negative. So if a bank has gone out there and screwed people over, and you speak about that and you just state what you think has happened, you can get in trouble.
Or if you talk about Bitcoin, which could be perceived to
be undermining the banks.
Or if you like. This is extremely dangerous legislation. I personally want to live in a country where somebody can be a racist arsehole.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like it's your right to be a racist. We'll think you're an arsehole and you're a prick.
Yes.
But in this country, you should have the right to be an arsehole. I mean, how many of you would get arrested for literally this shit that you already said to people without this legislation?
No doubt.
Everybody does, right? Like, that's Australia. Yeah. Like, that's our culture. We send shit that's inappropriate to our friends and we laugh about it, but words are not weapons. They don't actually hurt people unless they choose to get hurt. Like, anybody, like...
I've got huge... Like, I sent you that other bill during the week and I said, we're fucked. And I'm talking about the podcast, like, we can't speak out or we can't have an opinion on matters that are so important to society right now, things that people shouldn't be kept in the dark in. You know, and I agree with you, right? Like, we should stand up and speak out, but we have the opportunity to pick up and move if we want to. The average Australian person can lose their job and they're gonna be frightened into following these laws, and that's a really scary thought.
This is 1984 Orwellian bullshit, and we've seen what's happened in the UK where those old timers are sitting there, saying, I think. There's the immigration laws need to change. We have too many Muslims in this country right now. Whether that's a racist statement or not, he has the right to have the opinion.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the next thing, the cops are on his doorstep and marching him out in cuffs.
This is the knife attacks over there like crazy,
Yeah, and in Australia, we're not going to be able to voice these concerns. This is law now in Queensland.
Yeah. It's been a slow and steady march in this direction for quite a number of years.
So it's already in. It's not a proposal. It's law.
So, okay, well, look, as
in Queensland, yes. So you think about the lefties that are going to weaponize this. Chris, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say, look, it's probably the minorityest person on this panel. I think everyone should be really nice to me right now.
That's right.
I like the Ricky Gervais clip where he says,
minority too. Like, I'm Italian back.
Look, I'm a Asian. I'm a fake Asian.
Right.
So.
Okay.
But look, this has been a slow and steady march in this direction for a long time, and it's been very, very clear. And no wonder, our Prime Minister doesn't like Elon Musk, with his platform with X and platforms like Rumble, where you have the ability of actually speaking out. This is absolutely wild.
I think Elon Musk should be given the Nobel Peace Prize for what he's done, because he's the only guy standing up for free speech. And I don't know if you followed the story in Brazil where they tried to shut down X and And he just went, oh, well, I'll just fly some satellites over Brazil where it's not gated and Brazilians can still access the content. Well, because, he basically said, unless it's illegal, I'm not cutting access.
Well, don't they get fined like $1,500 a day if they access the... didn't they ban Tesla cars as well?
No, but Brazil actually froze bank accounts for Elon's other companies that weren't related to X Corp.
So they did a Trudeau trucker trick.
Like it's full on. But what I find scary, and I sent a meme to the group just before, and it's like, Australians in the corner, and then there's like free speech, and then there's a cheese and the rabbit in the bucket. Like that's basically what's happening in Australia. They're trying to like weed out anyone that's got an opinion and willing to say something. And most Australians are just sitting back going, oh, I'm not going to get involved here. And the rest of the world's looking at it going, oh my God, like what is happening there? A country that everyone used to speak about with such admiration. Australia, man, coolest place, coolest people. Now they're like, cool place, cool people, but I'd be a little bit scared to go there. And what are we doing? What are we doing here? To what ends?
I just hope that Australia doesn't let this go by like we did the last, like if we learned anything from the pandemic.
And look, I don't want to be controversial just for the sake of being controversial. I don't even know if I'm about to break a law here, but we touched on this in a previous pod. It's like, to what ends? What is the purpose for doing all this? And in the UK, there's this whole racism debate and the immigration debate. There's a school of thought that says a lot of it comes back to immigration, that the whole rituals before the sporting events and giving thanks to the owners, past and present of the land, is a way to basically condition you to think that the land is not yours, so that when you're bringing in mass immigration, people who are taking jobs, people who are taking opportunity, you're conditioned not to really say anything about it because it's not your country anyway, right? Yep. So it's a conditioning that's going on, so people don't stand up and say, hey, like, I'm all for immigration. My family immigrated here. Some of my best friends have all immigrated here. I've got staff that from other countries, but yeah, like at the end of the day, there is an argument to be made that too much immigration is not a good thing as well.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
But the whole point is here, we can't even have that debate.
No, we can't have that discussion.
If you look at the federal bill, they actually mention memes and things literally in the bill, that you can't share memes and you can't share electronic communications by SMS and all this sort of stuff. There was a doctor that got banned here in Australia because he was saying that you can't. The worst thing you can do is put patients who've had this particular type of surgery, people with diabetes, back into the hospital system because they feed them all this sugary food when they're in a hospital. It's actually quite dangerous. He got debarred as a doctor, fought it, and it was because the hospitals had contracts with Kellogg's. And just like...
And to Elon Musk's point, right? I mean, Elon Musk made the comment, I think he just posted fascists in relation to something that was happening here. And isn't it, I mean, I'm not up to scratch on all the political definitions. Isn't the definition of that is like a country that's kind of led and run by big conglomerates, right?
Like they call you what they are themselves. One of the things that
Playbook 101, right?
It is.
So Adam, you're saying that we can't even use comedy now. We can't even use satire if it's a meme.
No, because if somebody of a sound mind in a minority finds that it causes harm, they can charge you under this act.
Do they define what causes harm?
No, that's the problem. And all the lawyers are coming out saying the ambiguity in this language is actually illegal in itself because all laws should be easily understandable by the people that have to abide by them. So how do you define harm?
Right.
Somebody, they got offended because you said it too harshly. Like, words are words. They don't actually...
the old adage of sticks and stones, they break our bones, but words are never hurt.
And how do you define a minority? Like Ricky Gervais made that hilarious point where he says, well, look at me. I'm a white, middle-aged multimillionaire. I am in a minority, but I don't get down about it. I give myself a pat on the back, say, come on, Ricky, you can do it. But it shines a light on the stupidity and the absurdity of this bullshit. And this is why, like it's the old saying, evil prevails when good men and women fail to take action. And I'm not going to I'm not going to sit silent this time while they shove this shit down our throats.
And they advance the agenda so far, and they'll give back 5 or 10%, but then they've advanced the agenda 90% as well. So they'll make a couple of concessions, but the concessions really don't count. And then we find ourselves a couple of years down the track, we look back and go, whoa, what happened? Exactly.
We have to learn as Australians to speak up for this stuff, because this freedom isn't free. It was fought for. The ability to be an asshole and to be a racist is free. Like Elon Musk said it best: free speech only matters when you're defending the right of somebody who you don't agree with.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the real test.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're taking advantage of our virtue as well. They know that we're here in Australia and the West in general, but like we're all good people, and so they know if they come against us with force, we'll rise up and fight back with force. But if you start labeling people like racist, all those bits and pieces, no one wants to be labeled as a racist, because it's, as a good human being, you don't want to be labeled that. So they weaponize that against good people,
100%.
which is all of us here. It's
because you do find yourself second guessing, and that is part of our culture, to be able to say what you think.
Yeah.
And let's not pretend everybody's a little bit racist, like they say in the Family Guy. You think Asian people like you guys aren't racist? You fucking people are so racist.
Try to immigrate to Japan or Korea, that stuff. Yeah,
Chinese and Koreans give each other so much shit. They say, like it's
Thailand, same thing. Like, man, you're a Falang. It's like, that's, obviously it means foreigner, right? And it's not.
But they're racist against each other.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's just part of being human, right? Like, anyway, moving on from that.
Do you remember the old days, like in the 70s, 80s, where you had like Kingswood Country?
Yeah.
And even in the UK, you had Love Thy Neighbour, and the language, like you wouldn't even dare to say it today. And it's like, we used to be able to have, conversations and take, sort of pull the mickey out of each other and just take the piss a little bit, right? And it was okay, done in a bit of banter, a bit of humor, and it's just like, you're a dick, I'm a dick. And you used to call someone a bastard, and it would be a term of endearment, like, I like that bastard. Do you know what I mean? Now you can't even say it, because that could be harmful for someone, called a bastard.
I saw a meme this week, and it said, intelligent people are being silenced so that stupid people aren't offended. And I was like, how true is that?
And then there's the whole topic, right? Like, of by giving this special preference to whatever group that whatever group it is of the day, right? It's you're undermining their ability to build resilience. You're actually making it harder for them to get on in the world because of the special treatment.
Condescending.
And it's condescending, right? Like it's the last thing that I would ever want is someone to kind of treat my daughter or my kid special, because then she's robbed of the opportunity to build resilience. And that's so important to get on in the world. And I don't want her to be racially vilified or vilified for any other thing, but I also want her to be able to to stand up on her own 2 feet and know that she did it. She wasn't protected, so to speak, or
even like
different.
Even like the old motivational speakers, they were saying like, don't wish life was easier, wish you were better. And so what this is doing is it's trying to make life easier for everyone. And what's that going to do? It's going to prevent people from getting better. Exactly to your point there, your daughter's design.
And does it? What is it coming from a place of guilt, right? Like, is it coming from a place of guilt because we have it so much better than so many countries? Are we trying to even the scores in ways?
I think they're trying to manufacture guilt.
Yeah.
Like, I had a friend of mine who went over to Germany, and he said they're still not over the war. They're still gripped by guilt, which is why they're trying to do all of this mass migration over there, and they've kind of lost their identity as a people. And I think the scary thing with this new legislation in Queensland is that it's the people who are protesting the most have the most power. The people who are offended the most or manufacture that offence the most have the most power. And that's the truly scary thing, because you don't have a bunch of people who are entrepreneurs or people who make it happen. It's like you get more traction by being more of a victim.
Yeah.
And it's like that's a really downhill race. That's a race to the bottom for society.
Yeah. The victim card is like having pocket aces these days. It's just like unbelievable.
Yeah.
And we're driving, and it has knock-on effects. Like, it has knock-on effects everywhere, in the workplace, in productivity, and the whole lot.
And this is the biggest case to become unemployable, because if you're employed, you can't do anything about this. If you're unemployable, like we were just discussing before, you can pick up and move and leave. You can vote with your feet. And so I think, this is absolutely, if you're not on that path, that this has to be that wake-up call for you to take action now.
It's such a shame. This is the shit people move countries for.
Yeah.
Like, I will leave the country if it becomes that country. I'm leaving next year anyway, but that's not a country. But you know what I mean? That's not a country that I will want to call home, where somebody can be arrested for having an opinion that's controversial, Jesus. Anyway, moving on from that.
Right.
More positive news. Has anybody been following the All In Pod Summit this year? I've got to say, I've been in the personal growth seminar, self-improvement industry my entire life as an adult. But the boys at the All In Pod, without a doubt, in my opinion, assembled the best speaker panel in the history of live events.
Can we mention a few of the names?
Let's go ahead and mention it. And I just want to shine a spotlight on the fact that it's on YouTube for free.
Wow.
Where, Mark, roll off some of these names and I'll be right back.
Yeah. So if for those who haven't seen the All In podcast, it's 4 guys. 3 of them are billionaires, and they basically started a podcast during COVID where they just jumped on a Zoom call and just started riffing about the things that were going on in the world, and it just started building so much traction, as a lot of podcasts did in that time. But some of these guys have started doing like a yearly summit now, and the guests that they had on this most recent summit, just some of the guests: Elon Musk, JD Vance, Peter Thiel, founder of PayPal, Sergey Brin, founder of Google, Travis Kalanick, or I can't pronounce his surname. Anyway, he was the founder of Uber. Who else did they have? That's all I've gotten to yet. There was a heap more that they had, but the amount of pull that these guys have got, and so many successful people tell you that the one podcast that they never miss is the All In podcast. These guys are just phenomenal. It's crazy. Adam, who else did you enjoy watching?
Oh, mate, the only one I thought was a bit boring was Sergey from Google. He's such a computer scientist. No, but he was a bit weird.
He was a bit
weird.
But
I mean, he's Sergey Brin. He's detached from reality a long time ago.
Right.
But I thought Mark Benioff was amazing from Salesforce. His chat about regrowing, which we might touch on in a minute actually, but is it the Tanaka science? Where we're basically little fishies that can regrow our body parts. He actually, discussed how he made himself a petri dish for this untested science, where the surgeons were saying we're going to shave half of your Achilles heel out. And he went to this guy who instead of doing that, they got skin cells. This guy can turn skin cells into stem cells and put them into his Achilles heel, and it regrew itself. This guy was growing brains in dishes, it's actually happening now. So he gave this really interesting talk about that, and then pivoted to AI. Peter Thiel was amazing.
Peter Thiel is someone that I'd never actually sat and listened to a long form interview of, and I was blown away by his 40 minutes. That now I'm listening to his Joe Rogan 3.5 hours. Peter Thiel's someone he's
an extreme libertarian.
Yeah,
and he's the last. When he came out in support of our friend DONALDTRUMP. I'm not saying the word because every time we fucking do, we get banned.
Right.
But when he was running last time, Peter Thiel rallied behind him, and I was so surprised because he's from Silicon Valley, right, which is hugely democratic, and he's gay, and so I thought, holy shit, he's that's not exactly the candidate you think you'd fall behind. Went all in with him.
I was listening to Peter Thiel, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm not that this is the right way, but I'm like, I agree with everything this guy's saying. This guy is so level-headed and centrist in the way he lives his life, but has right-wing beliefs and has left libertarian beliefs as well. And I'm like, and he's kind of balancing the best of both worlds in his viewpoint.
I hope you're enjoying the pod. Just a quick note to let you know that on October 19, we have a one-day training event, Unemployable Live, at the QT Hotel on the beautiful Gold Coast. This is going to be an amazing day. We've got some incredible speakers, including Rick Richardson, the man that successfully sued Microsoft for more than $500 million, from Byron Bay, who has over 200 patents. He'll be teaching us how to protect our intellectual property in business. We have Raf Hussain coming in to talk about TikTok shops, which I believe is the fastest growing e-commerce platform at scale in the world right now. We have Chris Gion coming in from Early Bird AI. I'm going to be talking. Eric's going to be talking. It's going to be an amazing day. It's fully catered. You get the recordings. You even get a one-on-one coaching call with myself or Eric, your choice, after the event. And we're going to have lunch on the beach together. If you would like to join us for that day, go to unemployable.com.au/events. That's unemployable.com.au/events. Tickets are almost sold out. Click on the link to go see it. Enjoy the pod. He openly said, I'm not participating this time around. So he's not...
he's not donating.
He's not donating.
Supporting.
He's supporting, but he's not donating in the same way that he has in the past. For those who don't know who Peter Thiel is, he's probably one of the most successful investors in Silicon Valley. He was in the PayPal mafia with
founder of PayPal,
one of the founders,
investor of Facebook.
He was the first outside investor in Facebook.
Right.
He bought, I think it was 5% for $5 million or something like that, and made billions of dollars off of that investment.
I think that was also his biggest regret too, was not buying more.
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah.
So look, they just didn't miss.
And there's so many billionaires, like interviewees and people that they get on the show. Like, their network is just so vast and powerful. And the information that they give away, like you're getting this information for free watching their podcast once a week. Like, it's to see how people of that stature view the world is so much that can be gleaned from it. And they don't always agree on everything. It's not like an echo chamber. They try and be diverse in their opinions as well.
They're quite different. I'm going to apply to go next year. I know Simon Beard was there this year. He was there, yeah, because I follow Simon on Insta, and he was in the audience, and he just said he had so many fanboy moments, like when Elon came on, the crowd just erupted.
Yeah.
Oh, and we've got a mutual friend, Adam, who keeps bagging my investment of Tesla. He's like, oh, you're a Tesla fanboy, Tesla meme, Tesla this, whatever. And after watching Elon's interview on the All In podcast, he's like, I think I'm going to buy Tesla.
He is the ultimate troll.
He's the ultimate troll.
This is the same guy that the first podcast that we ever released for Unemployable, he DM'd it. We read it out on the pod. He said, this is the worst, most boring podcast I've ever seen.
You guys are shit. You guys don't know what you're talking about.
And he should have the right to say that.
Yeah.
I want him on the pod, but he's such a horrific person.
He'll get us all arrested.
He would get us all arrested. Like the shit he says. I'm surprised that he has not been beaten up more, honestly.
So what are some of the biggest takeaways you've got from the All In podcast? Are there commonalities? Are people like on the same page? Do you get a theme, or are there just like
it's a technology podcast?
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any takeaway other than the fact that you're extremely dumb.
Right.
Like you go, oh my God, my view of the world is so myopic.
Yeah.
I'm not very smart, and I need to listen to these people.
One thing that I was really, really interested is all the people that, I mean, I haven't listened to all of them there, but Sergey Brin, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, who are the guys you would say at the forefront of AI. Basically, I couldn't believe how surprised and shocked at how big of a thing they thought AI and the language learning model breakthrough was. They're actually looking at it going, guys, you don't understand how big this is yet.
Yeah. But Sergey is back at Google full time just because he said, as a computer scientist, I don't want to miss this.
Yeah.
Mark Benioff said, in 25 years of being a public company, we have 75,000 employees. I think it's $30 billion in revenue. And hands down, the most exciting thing we're working on right now is called sales agents. It's basically what Early Bird is doing, but at the enterprise level.
Got it. Yeah.
And listening to Sergey talk about, what's happening right in the belly of the beast with Google, he said, honestly, we don't need to write code anymore, because even I sat down and wrote some code just for kicks and then asked the AI to write code, and he said, there's no point in me writing code anymore. Writing code and learning code is a waste of time.
And that was another big takeaway as well. He said, I'm telling my code writers, or the engineers, whatever they're called, you guys should be using AI a little bit more than what you are. And even the best in the business are reluctant to use this technology because it's just human nature. No, I'm going to do it my way. But he's like, guys, you should be using this more.
And so for the entrepreneurs listening to this, I just want to, and probably this is more relevant for Simon and I, when we were coming up and we had a tech idea, which is usually a terrible idea when you're as dumb as us, on a relative basis, Simon, on a relative basis, I'm talking rocket scientists here and so on. It costs a fortune if you can even get a good coder. Now you've got the smartest coders in the world saying, just use AI. That's free and instant and better. They are mega brains on that stage. I mean, I used to in LA, when I first moved there to grow my network, I joined a network called Metal. They probably still meet. It's called Media Entertainment Alpha Leaders. Talk about, politically incorrect, men only, no women. Every Saturday morning they met in Santa Monica, and Elon came and spoke one day, and he rocked up in a little Tesla before Tesla was Tesla, a little Roadster. And we also had the head of NASA come in and talk one day. And the head of NASA, just to give you an idea, it's David Freeberg type people in the room.
Right.
And the head of NASA goes, all right, we're going to do a little exercise here and see if anybody gets it. And he does some equation on stage. And he goes, so, how many people got it? And 3 people got their hand up. Says, you guys could be rocket scientists. Says, yeah, we are rocket scientists. And then when Elon came and he spoke and he said, what we're talking about here is, it's not rocket science. It's actually much more complex. And so I used to hang out with these guys every Saturday morning.
No wonder you're going back to the US.
The All-In podcast is basically...
And on steroids?
It's that every time they drop, because it's just these guys that live in that world. And, you just get smarter listening to it.
Yeah, I love that. And I remember when I first got started in digital marketing, I launched a supplement product or a range of products. And I remember... employing, it was before something like ClickFunnels, and hopefully we'll get Russell on one time, Russell Brunson, on the pod here. I think that's going to happen sometime soon right now.
We're talking to his PA.
Yeah, cool. So I remember before ClickFunnels was a thing, I engaged a whole team of programmers from India, and I was friends with Russell at the time, and I said, hey, check it out, I've done this, and they built a whole shopping cart for me, and he goes, the code's beautiful, but why would you do that? You could just buy something off the shelf that has no bugs. And so, there's just another iteration where the AI is just something that will write something beautifully for you. First try without you even having to buy it. It's free, it's instant, and it's better. And it's bug-free too, right? Because you don't have that human error in there. So it's way cool.
And now's the time where we need to have imagination as humans as well. And, So, because essentially whatever you can imagine, you can almost build using AI.
This is not to circle back on the previous topic, but this is what grates my gears about the previous topics, is that it diverts the attention away from what we really should be speaking about, which is the future looks so damn bright. Like I put a post on Instagram, my story saying, who here thinks that the future is going to be worse than the past or something? The future is going to be, our kids are going to be less better off than what we were. And 95% of people thought their kids would be less better off than what they are. That's just not the case, if you ask me.
If you read Peter Diamandis's book, Abundance, will completely change your mindset on that. We've never lived in better times on any level. Health, lack of violence, lack of wars. It's the best time in human history is right now. Yeah. But I just want to pull on that thread, Chris. You said something there interesting from your vantage point. You said humans need to be creative now more than ever. Like, what did you mean by that? Can you expand?
Well, it's an imagination. So essentially we have all these tools where you can build almost anything you'd like without the need to spend a lot of money, without a lot of time, a lot of effort. So essentially that whole old adage of if you can dream it, you can do it. So there's a thing called Claude artifacts as well. So you can literally just say, hey, this is what I'd like to build, whether it's a survey, a calculator, or any sort of web app, and it'll go ahead and create the web app for you and give you the code. You just copy and paste it, and you have a functioning actual tool there that people can go ahead and use.
So it develops a software tool.
It creates the code for, exactly. The web app, literally just in a matter of seconds. And so the limitation or the constraint isn't what AI can do. It's what we can imagine and what we can dream into existence.
Do you remember at Reliable Education Studio in Burleigh, we had 4 walls and there was a mural on each wall.
Yes.
On the wall above where we used to broadcast all of our content from was a quote from Albert Einstein. Mm-hmm. And do you remember what it said?
Was imagination, yes,
is more important
than
knowledge.
Information.
So when knowledge has gone to zero in terms of cost and accessibility's gone to infinite, then the only layer left is imagination. And these are words uttered by Albert Einstein, pretty bright guy.
And this is why I disagree with people when they say, AI is going to take over all humans, because you still need the human creativity to inspire the AI to do. You were saying before about building a software program or whatnot. To build an app, how much money does it cost to build an app, Adam? You've gone down that path, right? There's a new, I think there's a new version of ChatGPT that's coming out. I think it was ChatGPT. There's 0.1 that shows you how to build an app in 10 minutes using AI.
Wow. Yeah, there's lots of videos on YouTube and Instagram where fathers are sitting down with their daughters and their sons that are... Actually, I saw one just from a friend last week. I'm just trying to think who it was that did it. Ash, actually, my business partner in one of my other companies, he sat down with his son and they built an app on using ChatGPT to guide them in like 8 minutes.
Wow.
And like with a 7-year-old boy. So, and this is just happening now. So I think that quote of imagination is more important than knowledge is so true. And it gets back to the human ability to connect dots that an AI will just see data, but you can actually connect dots of real world problems that need to be solved. And if you can observe those real world problems, like I saw something this week, which absolutely blew my mind, right? This is a company called Orbital, Suborbital, or what are they called? I'll bring it up really quickly. It's a fascinating, I've got it here. They're called Reflect Orbital. So these guys noticed something. This is talking about imagination. What they noticed was that they were in a hot air balloon and they had a mirror at sunrise and the sun hit the mirror and then hit the ground.
Yeah.
Now, most people would just go, oh, that's cool. Let's see if we can blind him. As a kid, we try to reflect things into somebody's eyes. So these guys sat down and thought, yeah, right, or burn ants or whatever us sick little fucks used to do. But they went, I wonder if there's a business in that selling light. And you think about it. And so they've now started, and what they're doing is they've got reflectors on satellites. So they've gone to Elon, and I think it's Elon satellites, and they've put reflectors on there. And to promote it as a service, cities and individuals, high net worths, can buy light. And what they do is literally the sun comes up, the satellite's in outer space, it reflects the sun's light at night onto a kilometre diameter. So we could light up the city of Brisbane in the middle of the night to literally put a spotlight on Brisbane to celebrate the Olympic Games and all the media and stuff around it. You think about that and you go, that's actually incredible. Now think about the impact of that on farming, for example, where you're a farmer and you need sunlight on your crops to maximize it through the night, right? And think of it as a business model. What does that cost for them? Well, okay, a farmer bids, okay, I'll pay $10,000 to shine light on my crops all night. They just angle the mirrors and they've got the science now so they can actually direct it to a pinpointed spot on the globe in the middle of the night and light up the field.
Wow.
Yeah. I thought you could actually get it down to the granular level like it was property by property.
Really?
Like not farm, but maybe even residential. So if I didn't like Chris, for example, I would just shine sunlight on his house.
Just go, I'm going to light you up.
I'm feeling attacked as a minority, mate.
That's wild. And that...
You are a minority. You're Phasian. Fucking fake Asian.
No, exactly.
No, you got a wog over here, you got a Phasian over here, you got a big tooth British convict over here. We're all fucking targets.
That's right.
Exactly.
But you're right, Simon.
You're right, yeah.
Yeah,
What a business model.
Amazing, right? Just thinking bigger to say going from, frying ants with a magnifying glass to just going, hey,
frying your neighbour.
Let's magnify and reflect. So fry the Asian next door.
Exactly.
We could actually...
Oh, this is not going live.
We could actually shine the sun out of your ass now. You
literally
can do it. You can have a mirror up your butt and away you go. So again, getting back to the Einstein quote and bringing this back to some level of decorum, imagination.
Go from that to Einstein.
But that could literally be, I would think, a multi-billion-dollar business of buying light through the middle of the night. That's an amazing application that is simple. You just reflect light. I mean, I say simple. You strap it to a satellite, all this sort of stuff. Yeah. But it really puts a spotlight on it. And So anyway, if you start following stuff like the All In Pod, all of a sudden you stop seeing puppy videos and you start getting shown smart stuff on your
100%.
echo chamber, which is kind of cool.
And I think people freak out about, say, AI and tech because they just don't understand that it's just a leveraging tool. So it's the potential for you to leverage your highest and best use, your highest and best thoughts, your highest and best version of you. Because automations and AI is about leverage, and leverage is just more units of output per unit of input, which means you've just got these incredible gears that you can achieve so much more. And that's why it's never been such an exciting time to be alive. I said to my wife last night, do you know this is just the best time to be alive because it avails opportunities for people like you, people like me, to earn $100 million plus. We've got accessibility to it now. There's nothing standing in our way except for the stories that we keep believing about why we don't deserve it or why we can't have it. Everything's achievable. If you live in this country, at least, right? You've got the ability to create an outstanding fortune with limitless potential.
You think of that, so you go ahead, Chris.
Oh, no, sorry. I was just going to say as well, like the limitation there is your belief about yourself and your identity. So,
Yes.
like I've had some conversations with Adam recently about that, and it's been just game changing. And so the only limitation, the constraint is, do you believe you have the ability to reach that level? What is your identity that you see yourself? You know, the whole be, do, have type situation.
We've been working on Chris 2.0, haven't we?
Absolutely.
The coaching of, like, we've sat down and really examined where Chris has gotten to in his career so far, which has been a good place, a place, but it's not the place he wants to end up.
That's right.
So what are we prepared to let go of for exactly V1? But going back to this sunlight idea, I want to draw a couple of comparisons. Like that, you've heard the saying, nothing new under the sun, but you know, the mindset that it takes to execute an idea like what you're saying, Simon, using a bigger lever. You think about back in the day when Richard Branson, you know, decided he wanted to start an airline, and the famous story of he just picked up the phone and called Boeing and said, how much is a 737? And they're like, who are we talking to here? You know, my name's Richard Branson. And he started a discussion because somebody has the job of selling 737 planes. And so he bought a 737 and started Virgin Airlines. In the case of what I just spoke about with the light, people may have noticed that, and then some people's self-image is, oh, well, that's a cool idea, but that's so complex. And the other person goes, what's Starlink's phone number? I'll just give them a ring and just see who's in charge of, like, allocation of, because at the end of the day, Starlink is a business, and they would have a price of what goes on in their payload. There's a cost to, you know. And so who do I talk to about an idea I have to utilize space on Starlink satellites? And they're like, oh, that'd be Tom over in, you know, resource allocation. Here's his calendar. And then you have that meeting with Tom, and then you end up probably getting Starlink as an investor. And before you know it, you go, well, Jesus, like, we've got a business here, and it's literally 2 phone calls away and having the balls to do it.
So perfect.
And that's been, you know, that's one thing I learned years ago, and that's, I said on another pod how I got and spoke to before he was, you might want to timestamp that where I just said that, Richard. 47 minutes in, so we could beep it out. But, you know, I wanted to get in touch with him, and I got in touch with him within 4 or 5 days, and I just did it through cupcakes. That was it.
Yeah.
So, you know, just that mindset that if I don't ask, I won't get. You may as well give it a crack, and the worst thing is you can say no.
Everyone's accessible right now. Right? Everyone on the planet is accessible. Like, if you're an entrepreneur listening to this and you've got your dream 100 client list, there's no reason, there's no excuse for you not to be able to reach out to them and have a meaningful conversation. Everyone's findable.
When in your lifetime, if I asked you to name 10 billionaires, you'd probably be able to do it like so quickly. Like, when in your lifetime has that ever been possible, right? Yeah. Like
the separation is the quality of the idea.
Yeah.
If you've got a really great idea, and that's the imagination piece.
Yeah.
And sometimes the simplest ideas are the most powerful ideas. And I just, it's such an exciting time to be.
And the quality of your questions too. Tony Robbins says the outcome of your life is determined by the quality of questions you ask. And so those quality, how could I questions, they just determine the trajectory of your life, right? How could I do that? If there was a way possible, you could even prompt ChatGPT to say, how could I do this? Or how could I reach out to Elon Musk? Or, you know, how could I broker sunlight? Or how could I, whatever. The how-to questions are are super
Well,
critical
even
questions.
on that too, like maybe you don't even have to have imagination. You just have to have reimagination, which is reimagining light. So we kind of like what we're doing at Early Bird, and as we've been refining and going down, we're reimagining a certain process within business. So now we look at all the things that are already happening and go, okay, what if I take this one thing and apply, whether it's AI or whatever that new thinking is and the new technology is, to this one thing, which is essentially what Mark Benioff is doing with sales agents, what we're doing on obviously the small and medium business scale. We're reimagining an existing process or an existing thing with the new tools and technology that's available to us right now. So you don't even have to think of anything new. Just look at something that you're already doing in your life.
I still think it's going to take 10, 20 years, but that we're going to look back on AI and that's what it's going to, the big impact that it's going to have is going to reimagine where we live, how we do business, the same way that the internet did. But those ways still haven't, there's still so many years of that to be born, and how we call them normal industries, but the industries are just going to change on their head due to this new tool.
I'm mentoring a guy in our coaching group at the moment who is a cybersecurity guy, and he just hates it. And so we've been working on something that he's been enjoying, and he's found himself drawn to artificial intelligence, specifically in music. And he loves the idea of being able to create prompts that turn out music. So there's this whole creative side of himself that he's discovered. And I immediately said, you should pursue this just for fun. Start a YouTube channel, start publishing what you're learning. And it's really interesting watching him go on this journey. And he created this AI band called Praise Be Vinyl. And you can follow him.
I've heard of this.
And so he creates these, he gets the AI to write these satirical songs.
Yes.
And then he gets like a black choir to sing it, AI. But he released one last week with our friend. And he wrote a song about the people, how they said the immigrants were coming over the border and eating all the cats and dogs.
Right.
And so he said to AI, write me a hilarious song about that. And then he got it sung by country music, and it's gone viral, right? So
Wow.
And that's creative though. Like he did that. Like,
no, but he gets attacked with real artists, real singers going, you're just ruining the industry. And I'm like, no, dude, ignore that noise. Because it is art to actually create prompts and to create
Different brush,
didn't Spotify ruin the industry?
brush. Yeah.
You know, Spotify with the streaming,
Yeah.
now it's the main way that people make money and all that. It's something new.
And I said, where we've landed at, I said, you should start 2 channels. You should start one for the left and one for the right.
Yeah.
And like have the AI write hilarious, like after the debate, hilarious songs that get sung and feed
That
both
would
sides.
work. Yeah.
And then underneath, sell merch. You know, like the Hop Tour girl made a fortune out of Hop Tour hats and shirts. And then if a video goes viral, you can buy the shirt that's about the song, and only the insiders know it. And I can see a universe in the very near future where this guy will be getting millions of views, because he could do that in Australia. He could have stuff targeted at Labor supporters, stuff targeted at Liberals,
Play both sides.
play both sides, own it all, and just create memes at scale.
Yeah.
And like the song is hilarious. Like, and he put the video up with like DT dancing. Like, he's jerking off 2 dudes, the dancing.
Can't unsee that.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, and it's hilarious and it's going viral. So, but here's a guy that's been shackled to this cybersecurity world and expressing and experiencing this whole new thing and learning to make YouTube, and he's loving it. And I love seeing him love it.
The expression thing is such a massive, massive thing. Like we've spoken about this before, but I've hesitated to kind of put stuff out on social media, and now I'm writing a new daily newsletter of my thoughts through AI because it's allowing me to express myself.
I get it.
In a way that I feel, I don't know, like I feel like it is better art than what it would have been.
Yeah. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the pod. I wanted to share a really interesting stat with you. In our e-commerce business where we sell electric toilets, we noticed that nearly half of our online visitors visit our website and do their research outside of normal business hours. Now, when you think about spending thousands of dollars a month on traffic, it is pretty important that you can service your customers when they're on their website. And that's why we used Early Bird AI. That's EARLI rather than Y, earlybird.ai. The team there helped us implement AI-powered web forms, which when somebody has a question about anything to do with our product, our website actually texts them immediately and engages with them in a discussion to assist them with whatever they want to know and is trained to move them towards purchase. We've also installed a talking website, or it's about to go live, where you can literally push a button on the website and it connects with an AI-powered voice that sounds like a natural Aussie-speaking person, and you can literally just talk to the screen and have the AI engage with them, answer all their questions, and again, direct them towards a sale. If you would like to learn other ways, including those, to grow your business through very smart AI, go and talk to the people at earlybird.ai. You can get a free audit of your business. It's not just for online businesses. We're working with plumbers, medical centers, all kinds of businesses over there. Go to earlybird.ai. I can't recommend them highly enough. With that said, enjoy the rest of the pod. I want to demonstrate because this morning I wrote an email to the team at Earlybird because we've been until now like the mechanic who drives the shitbox car. You know, like you're so busy fixing everybody else's cars that your own car's a mess. So I said, all right, we're going to get a website. That would be a good start for a company. So let's get a website, not just a type form. So we've now built the website. It's not live yet, but it will be shortly. And on that website, we need a phone number so we actually look like a legitimate company. And when that phone rings, it needs to be answered by AI.
Right. Yeah.
And so that we can demonstrate, because that's a product we sell. Have your phones answered by AI so you never miss a call. It gets picked up 24/7. You know. And so I'm going to play for you. I'm going to ring the number now because we're still training it.
Yeah.
But what we're realizing is, as we create these AI instances, like one is for people who are calling our 1300 number, but another instance, they're actually on our website and they click a button and they can talk to someone, being an AI immediately. But the context is slightly different if we know it's on the website, or if they're on my ecom business at DryFlush, we've got to push a button to talk to somebody now. The outcome or the prompting for that kind of AI agent on an e-commerce website needs to be trained towards an outcome. The AI calling Earlybird, the outcome is we want people to book an appointment for a one-on-one meeting with one of our teams. So we have these different prompt stacks, if you like. So I want to just show you, I'm going to ring it live.
That's like the Benioff agents thing, isn't it?
Well, that's
effectively en masse is what he's,
Yes, and where the art is, or where the human is, or where the artistry is in training. So I picked up when I this morning after I got back from my walk, I was just chatting to Erica. So Erica's our AI for Earlybird, and I was pushing her and testing her on different things. And we discovered a few things, like she asks for, like she goes straight into after she's had a chat with you, she goes, so tell us a bit about your business.
She's relentless like that.
Yeah,
but we just ease it off a little bit.
We just need to ease her up a bit. So she goes, tell me about your business, and then you'll see what happens. But basically she says, all right, well, what's your revenue? And I'm like, whoa,
That's it.
Buy me a drink first. So anyway, so I'm going to show you where this is, because this is real. This is not pre-recorded. Never do it live, they say. Here we go. Let's hear it on speaker.
Make or break.
Hi, I'm Erica from Earlybird. I'm here to help you explore how AI can supercharge your business. Let's get started. How can I help?
Yeah, hi, Erica. I've just been on the website and I was thinking that I'd like to talk to somebody about getting some AI for my business.
Great to hear that. What type of business do you have?
We sell electric toilets to hospitals and campers and people who use caravans.
That's interesting. Electric toilets for hospitals and campers sound like a niche market. What specific problem are you hoping AI can help you solve?
Well, we're hoping to sort of automate some of our processes and maybe get it to answer our phones as well.
Got it. Automating processes and handling calls can definitely streamline things. What's your annual revenue?
Boom. You don't mess around. $1.5 million a year.
Thanks for sharing that. Where did you first hear about Earlybird AI?
I heard about it on Adam Hudson's Instagram account.
Awesome. Adam Hudson's got a great following. Could you please provide your first name?
All right, so that's actually pretty good, right? Like, it's not bad. There's a little bit.
I'm surprised that's all you programmed for the Adam Hudson conversation.
Adam Hudson is amazing. Oh my god,
That is actually not programmed.
Good looking dude.
yeah, I've met him personally.
Mark, can you keep highlighting a change that we need to make here?
Make it more human.
Yeah, well, imagine programming for James Denham. Can you imagine? The legend. What you hear is true. So what we're getting at there is now the work in this is refining that down. There was a couple of words that were slightly off.
Yeah.
So it's and what I said in my email to the guys this morning, I says, all right, guys, what I want you to do now is, first of all, when you're testing this, I don't want your coders to test this, because they're propeller heads. They're not normal people. Get normal consumers who own businesses to run through that and spend 20 minutes on that. And so how did it actually feel to interact with that AI? Did at any point you feel like, oh, that was a bit abrupt, blah, 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 blah. And thinking about the context of where the AI meets the human and what the outcome is that our client wants, that there is the difference right now between somebody who can just build, and grab a tool off a shelf, and somebody who can actually make that tool work for a business.
Did I overhear you guys mention before that you had an idea to have the AI say, "Hey, I'm AI"?
Yes, and that was the other thing I said this morning. I said, I think that I want it to answer and say, "Hi, I'm Erica. I'm an AI that works at Early Bird. I can answer all kinds of questions about the company, our products or services, and I can even help you book a one-on-one."
I love that, because I talk to my AI on the daily, and I do it because it's the AI. So I want to engage with the AI because it's the AI. So I reckon really leaning into that will be a sensation.
I do too. I think it creates a little bit of flexibility from the customer, and they know that they can't offend it.
Yeah.
And I think, especially right now, it's kind of novel.
And they can play with it as well. Like, people will start to play with the AI.
See what they can get away with.
Yeah. And if you build that into the inference, into the training, you're gonna, that's a marketing tool.
Without getting arrested, Simon.
Yeah,
That's right. What's me is the AI. Yeah.
Now, the other thing too, as the founder of Early Bird, I feel like I've got to like step in here and just defend what we've done, because what you just experienced there was already head and shoulders well and truly above what most of the people who are out there are already doing.
Oh, absolutely.
But what we're talking about here, though, is really refining this down to being exceptional and incredible. And it's these little details that Adam's picking up, which is going to take our product from what is already incredible to being phenomenal, exceptional, like, and you just have to have it in your business. So look, I'm going to purely say, like, this is obviously defending what we're doing here to a degree. However, though, like what you're expressing there is already, exactly, already good. But these little details, and this is what Adam and I have been working on, has been really like focusing me on these small details. This is what makes the difference between good and great. And then you think about what has to go into making those little prompts to have that conversation going on. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and I think, within a couple of days, we'll have a phenomenal product in for us, but for clients as well. Yeah.
In my animation studio in LA, I had this big cartoon character on the wall right where our staff walked in, and it said, "To be America's #1 animation studio means giving a shit about the details."
Yes.
And all my staff loved it, because in America they don't curse. They called me the Australian.
Yeah.
Because I brought that Australian irreverence, which would get me arrested today for offending somebody. But
in Australia. Yeah.
in Australia. But they loved it, and that's what it was. And it was me being there obsessing over the details, because the irony of great AI is you interact with it and you go, holy, that was so good. Like, that felt really natural and real, and it didn't feel imposing. It was helpful. So the how you've done a great job is you forget that you're dealing with it. It's kind of like the Turing test.
Yeah. I think what's important for AI in a conversation like that is intention, and trying to bake in care factor, like intention, like this message is important. That person on the other end of the phone is important, like connecting with my parents. I've got an important message that's going to make a massive difference to the life and the business and the family of person that we serve at the highest level, to give them the most leverage, to help them make the most top-line revenue, to help take away the headaches and put their business on a stellar trajectory like nothing they've ever seen before. When you've got that level of care and intentionality baked into your deliverables or baked into the training. It's like that's
Do you know who's done
next
that?
level.
You know who's done that really well is Mark's favorite company, Tesla.
Right.
So Tesla have dog mode, right? Like so that you can put the air conditioning on. A sign comes up on the dashboard that says, "My owner will be right back. I'm fine," and the windows are cracked. There's the fart mode, right?
Yeah.
So when the kid sits in the back seat, you can let off a fart through the audio.
Yeah.
That kind of humanity baked in, those Easter eggs. Apple does the same thing with its iOS. There's certain hacks you can Google them, like that if you say to Siri, cool stuff happens. Right. So it's that's what I'm pushing the team for is excellence. Somebody has to be obsessed. And average businesses are ones where they just tick off the boxes, and that's what developers do. But entrepreneurs who become great are obsessed.
We were having this discussion last week, Adam, about creating short reels for the podcast. A graphic designer is not going to get the job done. We need to understand someone who watches. We need someone who understands a lot of podcasts, who understands the cultural issues of the day, and who's able to have a kind of film producing lens and put those conversations into like a short film, like a 30-second film. That's what we need, right?
Yeah.
There is an opportunity there in AI because there are tools out there. There's plenty of AI tools that say, hey, give us your long-form YouTube content and we will identify your reels and your shorts. And we'll chop. I've used them. I've dumped them all. Because nobody's got the prompts right. But if somebody obsessed over understanding Australian culture, American culture, and really created a set of amazing prompts.
It goes back to the training. It goes back to training.
It's all in the training.
And that's why inference with the Tesla self-driving is such a big thing. It's that process of training it to make decisions.
You look at last week we spoke about Kong, which is Sabri Subi's new thing, and how good the promo video was. And we found out afterward, apparently he has 20,000 people on the wait list. I don't know how many people converted. It's $100 a month, but let's say they convert over it, right? 20,000 people at $100 a month is $2 million a month or $24 million a year in recurring revenue. And essentially, it is a set of prompts. And that would add, conservatively, as a software company on that kind of revenue, 10x times revenue recurring.
Amazing.
So that's $250 million for a set of prompts. Now, we've tried it. We've gone in there. Mixed reviews at this stage. So I don't want to slaughter it, but I'm just saying it wasn't as good as the video in our experience, which is...
program.
Yes, I hope it gets better, but we love what he's doing, right? And it'll get better, I'm sure.
It absolutely will.
I listened to that pod, and you were talking about how cool it was that he's competing against himself, and I think that's amazing.
That's a great video.
I think some of the best companies in the world have done that. Like Gillette did that back in the day with they had the 2 blades, then the 3 blades, and then there's 4. Maybe they're up to 8 now. I don't know, but
Stephen Bartlett, who's in our space of podcasting, has a team of people trying to disrupt podcasting. He's got, I think, 5 people whose full-time job is to launch AI podcasts that are measuring all the metrics of retaining metrics, blah, blah, blah. He's got a an F1 sports podcast that is all AI. So it's all written by AI, voiced by AI, and published across the networks to AI that's in his stable flight studios, and it's full AI. And it's not quite where but he's measuring it against his own best in the world podcast to disrupt himself.
That's smart though. Like, so Asana's doing something similar as well in terms of having their team trying to replace themselves and they become more valuable. But imagine like you get the first car, you think about the first car version that came out, compare it to what the average or even old car is today. It's so much better. So the fact it's in that space now is super smart.
It's like the first e-commerce website probably didn't do $100 million a year, but now they're everywhere, right? Like it takes this. We're so in the infancy stage of all of this. I don't know. It feels exciting because it feels like for the first time, like I was too young for when the internet first came out, but it feels like for the first time we're right in the meat and bones of this. Like it just.
Whoever would have thought DJs would be a thing? But look at what DJs do. Right? Like it's interesting. Like perceptions change over time.
And someone I'm sure would have come up with the argument that DJing isn't music.
I was one of them. When I first saw DJs come out, didn't understand it. I was like, that's not music. That's just a guy pushing a button and dancing around on drugs.
Yeah. But if
Not
you
a
wa-
lot's changed.
Well, if you want to have someone like Fisher come and play at an event, I know one of the guys who owns Cafe Del Mar, and he says it's $250,000 for him to come play at a gig. It's like, dude, that's good coin for a gig, right? It's amazing.
seriously.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah. And same with the AI, like what you're saying with what Supri's doing. It's like you were saying, what was it? The numbers you were talking about? It's like
20,000 people at $100 a month is
Yeah.
2 million a month.
2 million a month for a little bit of code. Prompts are essentially just a few sentences, a few paragraphs.
With a personal brand.
Yeah.
They took a lot of
Leveraging the personal brand, yeah. But essentially that's all he's doing, just leveraging the heck out of his brand, which is, an awesome strategy in and of itself. Like,
distribution, yeah.
yeah.
If to kind of put all this under one simplified strategy, if anything, like really all that matters in the world that we're in today is attention. And if you can leverage these tools for maximum attention, you're going to win.
Here's something just for, I guess, the oldies and the youngies who are watching this as well. Like, it could be a perfect combination. You mentioned there you were too young for the internet, but perfectly positioned for the AI, which I would agree is 100%. So if you are a little bit on the older side of the spectrum, you have knowledge, experience, and wisdom, and you can look at these existing things and reimagine them. But you don't know AI. So if you're on the younger side of the spectrum, heck, you might as well go in there and learn everything you can about AI and then partner up together, and you've got a perfect business. And that's a win-win for absolutely everybody, because the people on the younger side, they lack the experience, the knowledge, the wisdom to look at something and go, oh, what if we could do this? But they can learn how to actually do that. And then you have someone guiding you and providing advice. Now, I'm not going to mention anything about age, but this is essentially what's happening with Adam in here, like with Early Bird. Like, we're going in and doing these things, but these little, well, I won't say little, but these tweaks and adjustments in our direction is what's making all the difference of what we're doing. And it's that combination of, okay, we know AI, we know all these things that we can do, and we're going in the right general direction, but there's little guardrails that just keep on putting on is making this laser focus. So I think, if you're, again, more experienced, you have the knowledge, great, look at that, reimagine what you already know, and then find someone on the younger side who's learning AI and partner up with those people. You can pay $100 million businesses.
Well,
It's
100%.
yes.
I've heard Adam talk about that, where he said partnering with younger people because they've got this energy, and this excitement about the world, and this wanting to explore new frontiers type of energy, which is super cool. I also get encouraged when I listen to the podcast where you might be interviewing like a young girl from like Sydney, 25 years old, making like close to $100 million a year with their skincare products. Like, come on, like surely someone like me has more experience and more knowledge than someone like that who's just got more energy. Or maybe they're thinking a little bit differently, but I'm damn sure she's got the same 24 hours that I have in a day. And it's just like how she's deploying those 24 hours. What is she feeling those? If we looked at, say, I don't know, each hour like a carriage on a train, what is she filling her carriage with, right? And what am I filling my carriage with? Because it's gonna lead to a different destination and a different outcome.
Well, I heard Hormozy talk about a similar sort of concept, and he was saying that he, at first, when he was looking at these younger people coming through, he felt a bit of resentment. He was like, man, these guys are crushing it way earlier than I ever did. But then he flipped his perspective and was like, well, that's because they're learning from people like me. Like, all this information you mentioned with the All In podcast wasn't out there, back in the day. So, people on the panel, we all had, to some sort of degree, had to struggle and learn ourselves. Now we can learn from all the lessons from others. And so naturally, if you are younger, like, you can learn these lessons super fast and have a massive business way earlier than anyone here on the panel, right? All of us included. And so it's
I think there's
won't
really,
let you go.
as we bring this pod to a close, there's a really important distinction between wisdom and knowledge. So you have a lot of knowledge. I have a lot of knowledge. You have wisdom and I have wisdom. But most of our knowledge is outdated. And that's a problem. So we need to jettison our knowledge and use our wisdom to be wise enough to know that we need new knowledge. And so that's why I'm spending time every day learning from 22-year-olds who create viral TikTok reels, and I'm learning to get better and acquiring the knowledge that's the right knowledge now.
Right.
And so so I try to invest my wisdom into Chris, but use his knowledge.
Got it. Yeah.
And so you bring wisdom and knowledge together, it's powerful. But there's too many old people that go, oh, I've got all this knowledge. that's worth jack shit today.
Yeah.
Right? That's important.
and that's why the conversations on the big topics of today are so important to have, because it allows you to sit across from people who maybe disagree with you. And if you can sit across and have a conversation with people who disagree with you, you can maybe find areas where there's common ground, and you can learn things that you otherwise wouldn't have learned. But if we stay closed-minded and we don't open ourselves up to things that we don't agree with, or willing to have conversations against things that we don't agree with, we don't learn.
That's why I started the pod with the controversial political stuff, is because we have to be able to talk. My friend who's trying to fight his way out of a job he hates in cybersecurity relies on his ability to say whatever. And like, he's going to be the publisher of that content, even though the AI was the one that actually wrote it. He's going to be the publisher and finable under these laws, or prisonable under these laws. And it's ridiculous, because it'll take all the life and humor out of things.
And if someone wants to come on the podcast and give us the steel man of why this law is a good law, come on board. Let's have the conversation.
So bring your pink hair and your stupid fucking bullshit outfit that you wear. But I don't think I'm alone in saying that I'm sick of people, conflating words with violence, and it's, it's just not the case. So anyway, we are better than that as a nation. This is an amazing time. I agree with Patrick Bet-David when he says the future looks bright. It is absolutely true.
Especially from that satellite that's shining sun next to the neighbour.
Yeah. Thanks, Simon.
Absolutely. Somebody's definitely going to strap a mirror to their butthole and say, the sun does in fact shine out of my ass. Oh my God. It's just waiting to happen.
That's a business for our mate.
Ben already believes that. Now he can actually scientifically do it and win the bet.
Wonder if you can put like words on the mirror so that it reflects the shadow and has words.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I'm leaving to Singapore tomorrow, going up to the F1. Can't wait.
I thought it was this weekend. Then I saw I'm like, have fun in Singapore. And then I realised it was Baku. And I'm like,
hopefully Oscar gets up again this weekend and brings home another win. But I'm looking forward to that. And I'll report back next week. Simon's doing a job for our business at the moment, a re-engagement campaign. We will revisit that next time you come in and report back on the numbers for everybody. Close that loop.
Cool.
And Simon, thank you for coming in today, mate, filling the small Gucci shoes of Eric.
Absolute pleasure. At least it wasn't Erica, right?
They call me Mr. Dolce & Gabbana.
He's having the time of his life, and I just love it, right? It's inspired me. I've said to Nicole, I'm looking at his Instagram posts, I'm like, Nicole, because we were where he was this time last year, I'm like, Nicole, could you just rebook another holiday? Because it's like, I want to do that.
We just did. On the weekend, we booked a holiday on the bay. We're like, fuck, Eric, I'm going to go.
It inspired me last night too. We had pasta.
That's great.
Some of us booked, expensive European trips, and others spaghetti bolognese.
That's awesome.
I love it. Keeping it real. Thanks for being here, Richard. Thank you for another episode behind the laptop back there. And Chris, thank you for coming in.
Pleasure.
Look forward to future updates. If you want to get some AI into your business, talk to Chris. If you want to learn to automate and convert more, talk to...
We're doing some good collabs now.
We really are, absolutely.
These guys are
and if you've got questions, throw them in the comments, and maybe we'll answer some good ones.
Mark, how do people get on your daily thoughts?
Thanks for that. So it's Mark DiPaola, my surname, markdipaola.com.au, and then it's / lifestyle by design daily, or you could just visit my Instagram and you'll see it in the
it's actually good. I get it. I've got the one this morning, and very, very cool. So make sure you get there. And for those of you coming to the summit on the 19th, it's a one-day event. It's going to be an absolute cracker. I got 2 special guests I haven't announced yet. I'll give you one little hint. One of them, they're coming together. They're business partners, Burley Business. Haven't introduced them to the world publicly before. They've been under the radar so far. Started an amazing little business in the food space. Started with a credit card, $500 each. And today they do $1 million a month, selling one particular type of very unique food product that they literally cannot keep on the shelves. They're going to come in and tell their story for the first time publicly at the summit. We got Rick Richardson coming in, got $500 million off Microsoft for a patent infringement. He's an amazing guy. He's going to come and talk about patents. He owns over 200 patents. We got Chris coming in to talk about what's going on at Early Bird and show us the latest and greatest. And we got Raf coming in, talking about TikTok shops, absolutely crushing that platform at the moment. So it's going to be an amazing day. And then we're going to go down the beach afterwards and have dinner together on the beach. And you get a free one-on-one coaching with myself or Eric after the event as well. And you get all the recordings of the event. It's going to be amazing at the QT on the 19th, QT Hotel in Surfers Paradise.
Great hotel.
And if you're in Sydney and Melbourne, please don't email me and say, oh, we'd go if it was in Sydney or Melbourne. I'm like, dude, airfares are $200 and I got a room full of multi-squillionaires. Come and hang out, put your big boy pants on.
Yeah, that's right.
All right? Yep. And get offended with the rest of us. I'm going to have this Phasian on stage.
That's it, exactly.
We're going to have a convict, a Phasian. Who else have we got? Well, Raf, I don't know. Hussein, you know. Maybe we could offend somebody with his surname.
There you go.
God knows. All right.
Awesome.
Politicians, have a great week. Bye for now. See you next week. Hey there. I hope you enjoyed that episode of Unemployable. If you'd like to watch another episode, just click there.